Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for Wednesday, April 5th. Not the big snowstorm we had over the Pocatello area yesterday, but we do have some lingering snow showers across the region. There is a band that's kind of still along the 84, 86 corridor. It's going to shift back to the north and to the east this morning. Even with that ban, no major accumulations expected. Some more showers coming later on today for an additional accumulations around the area. We have a break and then another round of rain and snow showers Friday into Saturday. That's not going to amount to much. And that pattern change next week, tis just a memory as the models have continued to trend away from any strong ridge coming our direction. For about a week from now, or even just in a few days down the road. Satellite this morning, we have northwest flow over the area. We don't have the big low that was impacting us yesterday. That has since moved out of the area, but we do have some moisture moving through the region and from the north and west today. The weather risk outlook, just minor risks, minor impacts across the area today. The only place we're seeing a potential of a little bit of light snow will be up around the Island Park area for Thursday. And then that precipitation moves back in for Friday. And most of this is going to be higher elevation snow, and where we have the impacts marked as minor, that's mainly over into the Sawtooth area, the Wood River area, and also up into the Eastern Highlands. The bigger impacts will be over in the Sawtooth, the spine of the Sawtooth, surrounding mountains, and actually back towards the mountains over towards the Boise area with this particular storm. So how are things looking for today? We're seeing that band shifting back to the north and east. Like we said, it's not a lot of moisture with that, at least this morning. There might be a little band of intense snowfall, especially between Pocatello and Burley. But again, enough to create some travel problems, but no major accumulations. Definitely nothing like we saw yesterday with the 1 to 2 foot accumulations around the Pocatello region. As we go into later on today, that band shifts still to the north and to the east. It breaks up a little bit. Then you notice the instability showers really developing this afternoon. Those move off to the east. And by overnight, late this evening, overnight, maybe just a little bit of light activity up around the Island Park area. But that will be gone as we go through early tomorrow morning. Back to the forecast, more of the forecast, looking at things a little more detailed for today. There's the snow across the 84, 86 corridor, 15 corridor into the southeast highlands. Again, between the 84, 86 junction and Pocatello, there will be a little more enhanced band of snow, maybe picking up a couple of inches accumulation with that band, a little more than what we've seen overnight. But most accumulations will be light, except up in the higher elevations of the Albion Mountains and on up towards the American Falls area. The gusty winds are still around, especially to the west, but you'll notice during the day those strong winds will be decreasing, although we'll see an overall increase in wind across the entire area. By this afternoon, just some light accumulations. It looks like there's a little heavier pocket of snow up around Copper Basin for this afternoon. Again, it's pretty showery, so that area could see a couple of inches of accumulation, 1 to 3 inches of accumulation locally there. Otherwise, not much going on. You'll notice the wind's kind of picking up a little bit across the board, 15 to 25, but those higher speeds down in the Magic Valley, the South Hills, and over into the Treasure Valley continue to weaken in that particular corner of the forecast area. Into this evening, not much going on, just some lingering light precipitation that continues into tonight. Most winds will be light. There'll be a few pockets of gusts over 20 miles per hour. So that storm Friday and Saturday, how much snow are we going to get? Where is it going to fall? And you'll notice pretty much the map indicates, like we said, the Sawtooth and the surrounding mountains back to the west. The probability of seeing more than 2 inches of snow in that area, generally pushing above 50%, especially along the spine of the Sawtooth. For 4 inches or more of snow, not much going on. Those percentages may be pushing 40% at best. Much lower than that generally across the board, and you don't see much in the way of higher accumulations over into the Eastern Highlands, over into Yellowstone and the Tetons, and that certainly holds true for above 4 inches or more of snowfall with that particular storm. Now, looking at rain or even taking that snow and melting it, you can see that trend Most areas under 20%, under 30% for even seeing a tenth of an inch or more of precipitation on Friday and Saturday. That's for 2 days now, 2-day total. You'll notice we have those percentages pushing above 70% over into the central mountains and barely pushing 50 to 60% over along the border with Yellowstone and the Tetons as well. That's for a tenth. For more than half an inch, barely any potential. It's very low, but non-zero over into the Sawtooth, into the west. Those percentages barely pushing above 20% for Friday and Saturday. So those where we're seeing the focus, but just not a lot of precipitation with this particular event coming through. Now, we've been talking about this pattern change. Looking at what we call the cluster forecast, this is kind of a way we look at probabilities of a particular pattern setting up. You'll notice from yesterday's forecast, we had quite a bit of these cluster forecasts indicating a pretty strong ridge over the top of us by Monday. There was about a 10 to 15% probability of seeing southwest flow, but a weaker ridge that's already shifted to the east, and we had a very strange outlier with just a lingering trough over the region. This is from yesterday. From this morning, you'll notice that potential of the stronger ridge over us, that's only around 5 to 10% now with looking at all of the forecasts with the cluster forecasts. You'll notice the majority now have some type of ridge, maybe a little bit varying in strength, but off to the east of us, anywhere from along the divide already into the plains. So that tells you two things. Any warm-up we're going to have or any decent warm-up beyond Sunday is not going to happen now. And this also kind of gives you an idea. We've got more moisture coming back into our area. But the trend will be at least warmer than we've seen with the past couple of days with our storm coming through. So let's look at high temperatures. Here we are for today. Most of us in the 20s and 30s. You get towards the Magic Valley into the Treasure Valley, we're looking at low to mid 40s. Skipping ahead to Friday, you'll see more 40s and 50s, especially along the Snake River down to the south and into the Treasure Valley. Also up around Chalice, up towards Salmon near 50 degrees. Again, the rest of us in the 30s, and the higher elevations still at or below freezing in most locations for Friday. Now, skipping ahead to Sunday, it still only looks like the really high peaks. We're talking going up to Bora. Those types of elevations will be the only places that are near freezing on Sunday. Otherwise, 40s and 50s in the mountains. We're talking 60 to 65 up and down the 80-46 corridor. Also down into the lower valleys of the Albion Mountains and South Hills, we'll see some low to mid-60s for Sunday. By Tuesday, we start to drop those temperatures back. The original pattern, what we've been talking several days ago, would just be building on those 60s going into early next week. So again, looking at the forecast and showing what the latest high temperature forecast shows, that particular scenario is not going to happen, and we'll start to drop those temperatures back into early next week. So like we said, some snow showers around today. We've got a band between Pocatello and Burley. Certainly not the 1 to 2 foot accumulations we saw in the Pocatello area yesterday. Nothing like that expected today. Another system coming through Friday into Saturday, not dumping a lot of moisture. And as we've said, warmer temperatures are coming, but certainly not as warm and for definitely not as long as we were thinking into the early part of next week. We will say, though, some areas at least will be closer to normal than we have been of late. Have a great Wednesday, and do stay safe out there, everyone.